Mzukuru.
Ndinona kule. No madiracho.
Mwana wanzvazi.
Saka apa kule
nachikumboona iwo unoona bhora iri ka. Iwo unosabata temiri indiro manyoya.
Mani yonda ziya kuti devils manje semunhu wechechi azonzi.
Unoita zvedanzo ndaziva mani. Ndiwe mwadedido. Mwadedido.
Atakubacha andisiri nani.
Okay.
Kule nomuro ndibweza.
Nyasha mbomone.
Ndamura. Ngachimona. Kule nomuro ni
nemvura yakuda kunaya ika mufanira kumusha naDecember unosabura sabura
ikazotobuda izvi futi inogona kutozonaya kule ndege nditi nditasi
kutenda ungochita zingori nyaya
nyangu ndaisa foni yangu pachaja kule pakashata
unotaura kamfana unotaura iwe uswera njenga unotaura indo isa pachaja mforomo mzukuru tichafa
kule
apa enda daungosvika ubva ungoisa kahwani usinombowanza nyaya
woza nene mosha.
My people, comrades and friends, welcome to another episode of The Week with me, Comrade Fatso. And what a week it's been. Zesa is still Zesaring, the Namibian ruling party is kwataring, and Harare is still world-classing. But first, this. Yes, apparently around the world these days, politicians are copying the ZANU-PF template for winning elections, including Donald Trump. That is what one Comrade Mapranga had to say when Wapo Story for Economic Development and other ZANU-PF affiliates gathered at Edie's farm recently. Unfortunately, the Wapo Story drove Musango on the way there. Forward ever, backward never, my comrades. For those of you who still unsure that Harare will be a world-class city in 33 days' time, we luckily got to hear a few words of wisdom from our mayor of Harare, Jacob Mafume.
If someone woke up from 2024, if they had died, they would be surprised that there was a world-class airport in Harare. They will also be surprised that there is a world-class parliament in Harare. They will also be surprised that there is a world-class roads, the west side of Harare. They will also be surprised that there is a world-class junction at Mbudzi, where the roads are traveling. They will also be surprised that there is Joiner City in the middle of the city.
They would also be surprised that the world-class parliament is actually outside Harare. They would also be surprised that the world-class roads are actually just a few streets to Avondale that were fixed up for the SADC summit. They would also be surprised that I can't remember the last time I saw a city council rubbish truck. I think what they actually mean by that slogan, world-class city by 2025, is that if the world was a class, we would also be a class, just yemadofu.
Shit is a woo. Meet
kwemari muno apa maid akati 4000
ndiko 4000 yacho ka
pana zvitaita
apa isi kana $20
no $16.20 chitowasiro emrio siya emrio vaisire emrio
une $3
amai yapera kufiwa isa vaisire something siya something chingwas 5 vaisire 5 at least what was it 2000 pamusoro ya6 kanda big and
Namibians were still voting early on Thursday this week, hours after polls were supposed to close in elections that are set to test the ruling party SWAPO's 34-year grip on power. Some voters said they queued for 12 hours due to technical problems, including issues with voter identification tablets and insufficient ballot papers. First, the Electoral Commission of Namibia gives a 60 million USA tender to supply all election-related materials, including ballot papers, to a company connected to this guy. Then they do the ZANU tactic of frustrating voters with logistical challenges, including a shortage of ballot papers in opposition strongholds. Sound familiar? My Harare and Blayo peeps? And it's all because SWAPO is worried that they're next in line to lose power in SADC. So they're using the ZANU-PF playbook. I'm surprised our press hasn't yet sent them a congratulatory message on their resounding victory. This week, CCC faction leader Jamison Timber and 34 other party activists were finally released from detention. They were given wholly suspended sentences after having been convicted for convening an unsanctioned gathering. The aforementioned gathering was basically a braai at Timber's house in June. The SADC Summit prisoners spent over 5 months in a widely condemned pre-trial detention. Their sentences were suspended on the grounds that they don't attempt to commit the crime of gathering or planning to gather. Yes, it's basically illegal now to organize a braai paden with your comrades. We cross now to Munya with the financial report.
Thank you so much, Comrade. Welcome to the financial report. Now, today we're talking about budgets. So I found out some details about the whole Mpofu Chimombe Wicknell ZEC deal. So the invoice for the BVR kits and software came to $8.9 billion. These guys needed 6 Dell XPS 11 Pro laptops. Each one is valued at $2,685. They quoted $4,165 per laptop. They needed an HP M455 printer, which is valued at $700. They asked for $1,133. These people asked for $1,455. You know, you ask for Mariama Buget Choro or something, where's all $10 per soro, okay? But this is egregious. Our debt overhang is $20 billion, which means that even if we found that 15 billion, we would still owe $5 billion in debt. 40 million for bribes, WhatsApp data, and some ugly shoes. Don't forget, kuti Dedi Xi Jinping wanna gets anytime. Because teaching educated child 1.4 billion. Yachikashansa gorelia kugadzirisa wange thermal power station. Can we get my Welly on the phone? Yeah, but can she twerk like she fried rice instead of like rice and dory? You know? At COP29, us developing countries asked for 1.3 trillion to help decarbonize ourselves and deal with the effects of climate change, of which we are the hardest hit, but didn't actually cause. They offered us $300 billion. We walked out. Now this seems like it's fair, but for context, the whole continent of Africa is responsible for maximum 4% of global emissions, whereas the Coca-Cola company alone is responsible for 11% of global emissions. Us developing countries are losing an average of 5% of our GDP on battling the effects of climate change. And guys, everybody has to play their part. Zesa is doing its part by just switching off the entire country for 36 hours at a time. My ex is doing his part by, I assume, not charging his phone since he's so unreachable all of the time. Even Wicknell is doing his part by buying the country hybrid aquas. What are you doing? Okay, we can't afford it, all right? Because even though all AU countries agreed in Abuja in 2001 that they would allocate 15% of their respective national budgets to healthcare, we have consistently been allocating less than 10%. In other words, half periods. Then we use the other half of the money to buy billboards saying Tamukira to shoot this at 5 a.m. Okay, look. Averted.
Thanks, Munya. Zimbabwe and Zambia suffered nationwide blackouts at roughly the same time this week, apparently due to a power surge from South African power utility Eskom. At this stage, I'm convinced that the power cuts are part of an elaborate strategy to make sure we've never got enough battery to see all the bullshit that they get up to. You notice how there's always power when we need to hear a national address? Former Energy Minister Fortune Chasi shed some light on the national blackouts by announcing on X that he was ready to serve if needed. Chibabist obviously rubbed the Msangano the wrong way, as their ZANU-PF Patriots handle tweeted, "It's insane that a Politburo member can claim I am available for a position occupied by another comrade. Sheer disrespect to the incumbent and the appointer. Leaders should use X responsibly." To which Chibabis responded, "Stop using your kidneys for thinking instead of your brains. Yee. I think they're having a power struggle. Get it? So why do we have this power crisis in Zimbabwe? There are 3 main reasons: the climate breakdown, foreign debt, and good old corruption. Firstly, the climate crisis is real. The recent low water levels at Kariba have been attributed to severe droughts and extreme weather made more likely by climate change. A second reason for the power crisis is this unsustainable debt that we got. We got the bag to fix Wange power station, but there's still no power. Did someone need some money? We got some inside information on it this week from former minister and ZANU's favorite troll, Walter Mzembe, who tweeted, I repeat, Hwange power station is a technical goblin and crime scene. The president, Idi Mnangagwa, in his own words, says his friend, President Xi of China, gave him 1.5 billion to fix HPS. But seasons down the line, no power. Where is the money? Where is the power? Comrade Wilza, I really want to know what a technical goblin is. And can we get one to fix my lights in Muna Checho? So we got the big Chinese loan and still don't have power, but that is not even the worst part. The head of the Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce warned this week that the country faces the worst blackouts in 44 years if the Chinese lenders decide to switch off Hwange because Zesa is currently struggling to pay the monthly repayments of 36 meter. And the worst ever. I thought this was the worst ever. I mean, that's like 2008 saying, nah man, don't worry, this is just a dress rehearsal for the main act, 2024. Why are we taking out loans that we can't pay back? Once again, it's African countries falling into well-laid debt traps by rich countries. I mean, if we default on the debt, what do you think the Chinese will ask for? Maybe Hwange power station, maybe some more mines, maybe ZBC. Okay, if they took ZBC, it wouldn't be that bad, but you get it. The third reason behind our power crisis is that instead of investing in a just energy transition with renewable energy for all, we give tenders to dodgy business people. Our great country has an abundance of solar energy potential, but our government would rather pay Sir Wicknell millions for a garden shed masquerading as a solar project and then give more millions to COVID thieves like Ndelish Kuwaya to pick up my bin so that Zesa can supposedly feed more energy into the grid from his Geopomona dump site. I guess this is what the Hurment means when they say them and their tenderpreneurs are going green. At the end of the day, the next time the Hurment says that the power crisis is due to the low water levels at Kariba, remember, that is only part of the truth. Thanks for joining us on The Week. Follow Magamba TV on social media. I've been Comrade Fatso. You have been the people. This has been The Week. Thank you. Watch out for power cuts and futsak.
To this august house in compliance with the law, and it is accompanied by the following document. Maybe that was a sign.